Garrett Peters brought along with him when he took the role. That ball being allowed to drop in midfield by NDC, and neither team really able to get a grip on it. Marcassini able to keep that ball moving for Artie. Now here's Malouf driving. NDC starting at a ferocious pace, really looking to take the game to FC London right from the bat. Greco keeping hold of that ball, keeping it moving. That long ball not really finding its way past Benatti though.
Nice, Camille.
Robin Scott will get us restarted with the throw. Cienzi looks to move that ball forward but can't get it any further than Rose. Amanda Allen, the one chasing the ball down for NDC Ontario. Allen, of course, the player that's put two past FC London in their most recent meeting just 2 weeks ago. Her brace securing the 2-0 victory for the National Development Centre squad. And that ball from Steinauer just a little bit awry. Brusque attention from the FC London midfield, being rewarded with a free kick for NDC. They keep that ball moving. Carabin keeping that one swinging around. NDC with nowhere really to go as they look to build their pattern of play after that frenetic first couple of minutes. Watson now looks for options, moves that ball forward for Malouf, who's just about able to keep that one in. And Malouf plays that one back for the overlapping Watson with a sharp ball in. A dangerous cross across the face of goal. But Morgan Blair in attendance to scramble that one clear. Watson relinquishing corner duties for Rose. Not a bad ball in, but Steinauer is out to it quickly, calls for it, makes sure there's nothing untoward stemming from that set play. Keeps this one short. FC London will look to build from here. But whether they can build through or around the NDC press, they'll be waiting for their triggers to go. And that one doesn't get any further than Ariana Rose, but that's good work from Benatti to keep that ball moving. Oh, a nice looking through ball that Milligan was looking to latch onto. Milligan, of course, one of the 4 goal scorers from their 4-3 quarter-final win for FC London over Simcoe County Rovers, the game that got them to this point. Watson looking to make her way past Gay, one of the other scorers. And then Benatti, the third of the 4, able to make progress and play that ball out very nicely for Gay, who's got plenty of room to swing a ball in. But unfortunately, Ali Hicks, the 4th goal scorer, so the 4 goal scorers from that previous game all connecting in short order, the 4th goal scorer not able to settle that one down, but this is terrific running from the overlapping fullback, Taylor Budnik, to get into a dangerous spot. Now FC London now setting up shop just outside the penalty area, but the through ball from Benatti, a touch awry. The clearance, though, not any further from the FC London midfielder. The ball back with the NDC Ontario feet. And at just 6 minutes in, We've already set a high pace in the setting sun here at Save Max Centre in Brampton. It's nice work from Watson to get around 2 players and take out 3 of them with her pass. Kayla Briggs perhaps taking a little bit too long with her ball to release Amanda Allen. By the time she'd gotten up and found her pass, both her forward options, Allen and Maloof, had strayed offside, so there was no pass and no option on. You'll have to forgive us if our picture is a little difficult to follow at present. The sun is directly in our eye line. We should be set shortly though, as the sun itself does. The ball looked to be pumped up the middle by the FC London defence, but not getting any further than a stalwart NDC midfield. They're able to send it back to where it came. Avery Thomas will move that one back to her goalkeeper, Steinauer, who looks to swing that one out wide, but again, the pass just awry, not able to find itself to the feet of Bubnik. Great long throw from Maloof to chase, but scrapped clear by Robin Scott, who was alert to the danger and alert to the ball bouncing and clearing the head of her central defenders, sweeping up where they perhaps were beaten by the flight of the ball from that long throw from Mariana Rose. You'll notice a couple of absentees from the NDC Ontario starting lineup. They are on the bench, but Michaela Small and Jade Rose perhaps being rested ahead of their trip to Costa Rica as part of the Under-20 World Cup squad. An example of the strength and depth that this NDC Ontario team has. Oh, that ball in from Watson is looped in but dealt with well by Steinauer. And FC London will look to break. But NDC keep that one in, keep that ball alive. Carabin, who was up from centre back in order to attack that ball, able to, in this instance, shield it, retain possession. The ball was intended for Allen, but a touch long, and she had given up on that through ball from Rose, aware that with only 9 minutes elapsed in the game, that there is still plenty of football left to be played this evening. Steinauer looking for options, nowhere really to go. Looks to go out to her right back Scott. The ball just long. FC London not yet able to dial down the beginnings of their attacking patterns or their patterns of play from the back. Unfortunately, sending a few passes out from the goalkeeper awry when she's looking for her fullbacks. It is breezy here this evening, but the wind isn't too high. Rose able to retrieve that ball in the midfield. She's been busy already in the middle of the park. Carabin with a neat turn to elude the attentions of Jennifer Milligan. A risky maneuver, but one I'm sure she'd be willing to make again. Oh, and that ball bouncing fortuitously for Maloof to chase. But Avery Thomas, aware, able to get that ball out of that danger area, looks to move it down the line, but no further than Raimondo. Rose has Watson as an option. Chose not to take it. Marcassini does, however. Watson looking for her options, looking for her choices. Look to find the feet of Maloof. Oh, a lovely ball out from Rose for Alan to bring down so she could run at her fullback. Looks like she had the beating of Bubnik once, but Taylor Bubnik not giving up the second time. One thing we do know about Amanda Allen is that she will not back down in a scrap either. If you're just joining us, hello and welcome. This is indeed the second semi-final of the League One Women's Premier Division playoffs. We're coming to you live from a evidently sunny, but not overly hot Save Max Centre in Brampton, Ontario, with NDC Ontario, the National Development Centre Ontario, acting as the hosts this evening to the visiting FC London, as both teams vie for their place in the final to face the recent victors in the first semi-final that happened actually just 2 hours earlier, Alliance FC, running out as what would be considered surprise winners over their superior seeded opposition. Ontario come into this game fresh, as they had a bye to this round, secured by virtue of their second place regular season finish. They actually finished the season as both the league's top scorers and with their stingiest defense, and you can see why, with the midfield doing just as much work to halt ball advancement from the opposing teams as the defense does. Steinauer actually is still down in the penalty box. The referee has not yet whistled play dead. Steinauer is back up now. And Steinauer down again, and the referee decides this time to bring play to a halt. Our referee this evening is Teodora Glisic. Their assistant referees are Tanya Candido, Michaela Pisani, and our fourth official, Amanda Kwan. To NDC's regular season, as mentioned, they finished second, top scorers, stingiest defense, only one loss. But it was actually somewhat ominously to their potential rivals and potential opponents in the final, Alliance FC, a 3-1 defeat. Now, FC London, on the other hand, should be in something of a rhythm, having held off a late rally from Simcoe County Rovers in their quarterfinal earlier this week. As mentioned, there was 4 different goal scorers in that one for FC London, a continuation of the pattern from their regular season where they do spread the goals around. The vociferous travelling support will be hoping to defy recent history to cheer their team to a 4th title. The recent history in question, of course, being, as mentioned, an ominous 2-0 victory for NDC just 2 weeks ago, both goals coming from the feet of Amanda Allen. Both goals actually being quite similar in the way that they worked as well. Balls over the top into the space for Allen to chase. So I'm sure that's something that FC London will be aware of and guarding against. They are not likely to come in and make the same mistakes again. Looking to make sure they don't have too much space, don't play that defensive line too high, don't give NDC too much to run into. Steinauer is now up and moving. Both teams have probably thankful for the break here in the 14th minute to collect themselves, gather their thoughts, talk with the coaches, get a feeling for how the early game was going. Thus far, it has prominently been NDC Ontario with their foot on the ball. FC London struggling to actually get out of their own defensive a third. That midfield partnership of Rose and Greco standing strong so far. NDC playing in what would appear to be a 4-2-3-1, 4-3-3, but fluid. Certainly past the 4 defenders and the 2 holding midfielders. The centre-backs forming a block, whilst the full-backs push high. The 4 forward players, Maloof, Raimondo, Briggs and Allen, showing a good deal of fluidity in their movements. FC London not able to get out, and again NDC who showing that press, which is something that they have done all season long. An incredible amount of athleticism from this national developmental squad, which would be expected, I suppose, considering they are essentially one of the only full-time teams in the league. But they are ready to press and run and harry for the entire game. As we can see, one of the best forms of creating chances is turning the ball over close to goal. Rose will swing this in. Thus far, I was about to say, Jaden Steinauer had been relatively untroubled with the corners that had come in. That was actually the third of the game, I believe. And she made it to that ball, but the attentions of the onrushing Marquezini nearly knocked that one clear. As London, again, as mentioned, they've been looking to build from the back here a couple of times, maybe initiate the press and play through it, but this time it worked out. And Bonatti now has a great deal of space to run into. Her ball forward for Milligan, however, not making it any further than Carabin. Carabin with that lovely ball forward from Maloof to chase. She nearly finds Steinauer in no man's land, but the FC London goalkeeper, who's been an ever-present almost throughout the season, was able to get to that and halt the advance of Maloof. Again, the NDC looking to play into that space behind the defense of FC London, knowing that they are trusting the pace of their forwards, of Maloof, of Allen. Oh, a neat turn. Oh, and Maloof is flagged offside, or coming back from an offside position. Perhaps somewhat erroneously, but far be it from this correspondent to argue with the calls. Rosa Maloof looked to be doing that just fine on her own. FC London again labouring somewhat with their build-up out the back. And allowing NDC always these opportunities to read the angles, force turnovers, and get another corner so early in the game. Rose plays this one short for Watson. Rose with the cross in, but not beating the first player. NDC still able to retain possession away from that, though. Watson now not able to beat Gay as Gay bursts down the line. A terrific turn of pace to take the space. Her attempted through ball for Milligan might be a touch long, but the FC London forward battles well to catch up with it. And now Robin Scott's in a good position, and London able perhaps to put together a sequence of possession in a dangerous area. You'd have to imagine anything progressive, I suppose, in terms of the play that comes from FC London would come at the feet of Bonatti, considering she is a stalwart, reigning midfielder of the year, two-time actually midfielder of the year, and has been on the team of the week no fewer than 5 times so far this season, and has been was part of the FC London squad for their 3 previous championship victories, and is not only all of that, but she's also the leading scorer for the team this season on 12. And again, that ball over the top for Maloof to chase, not dealt with particularly well by Avery Thomas. But Morgan Blair able to come back and help out her defensive partner. Allen now look to face up to Avery Thomas and shape a finish into that far corner, but this one a little awry. And now we do have an NDC player down. Looks like Rosa Maloof is down. Referee is bringing us to a halt. I'm going to take this brief halt in proceedings to thank our sponsors this evening. Tonight's League One Ontario broadcast is made possible by the support of its partners: Gatorade, Rehydrate, Replenish, and Refuel. Derby Star is the official ball of the Canadian Premier League and the preferred match ball of League One Ontario. Macron, work hard, play harder. Vibrant Performance is Canada's most trusted automotive high-performance brand. Sports Engine, bring your team together with Sports Engine HQ. The Canadian Premier League, of course, where Canadian soccer takes flight. Ontario Soccer, encouraging us all to play, inspire, and unite. And then, of course, Canada Soccer. Sign up for the new Canada Red Fan membership program to get the inside track on national team tickets, exclusive merchandise, and other promotions. Some Maloofah's up after the attentions of the physio. Quickly remind you what we're here for. League One Ontario is the province's Pro-Am standards-based soccer league and is sanctioned by FIFA through the Domestic Authority of Canada Soccer and Ontario Soccer. Founded in 2014, League One enters its 8th season of play in 2022 with 20 teams in its Women's Premier Division, which of course is what we are having the privilege of bearing witness to this evening, and 22 teams in the Men's Premier Division. League One serves as the stepping stone between high-performance youth soccer and the fully professional levels of the game. Marcassini cuts out any kind of danger with that through ball. Its primary focus is to showcase the development of Canada's future stars, and to that end, more than 150 players, male and female, have graduated from League One to professional levels of the game in Canada and across the globe. For more information, please do visit league1ontario.com, and then you can find League One Ontario on Twitter, Instagram, Facebook, TikTok, and of course YouTube, where we have the privilege of entertaining you this evening. Michienzi looks to make sure that Watson can't make any progression down that flank the way that she has been so far, but that's a great ball for Allen to chase. Has the better of Scott, but it's Allen able to fire that one over for Armando, who looked to shape for the shot, but it was charged down. Ooh, a loose touch from Carabin allows Milligan to get the ball. And Gay, who has switched sides for the time being, perhaps in an attempt to see if she can get any joy out of the other flank, looked to play that one forward, but the ball not getting any further than the centre back of Zoe Marcassini. Watson with a neat ball through, breaking the lines for Kayla Briggs. Keeps that one moving for Amanda Allen. Allen will chase this. It will hold up on the turf. Allen now looking to square up one-on-one versus Scott. Able to create some separation, but the ball in is not a good one. Doesn't beat the two defenders, Thomas and Hicks, who had made sure that nothing was going anywhere.
We're like 40 minutes to that.
With 25 minutes elapsed in the game, we are still at 0-0 in this semi-final. And that ball is flighted in, this time a much deeper corner that just eluded Carabin, and Briggs looks to keep this one alive, but can't quite bring the ball under control. As mentioned, it looks like Hicks and Gay have switched flanks. They had started on the opposite sides. And again, once more, the clearance out from Steinau. Steinau has been terrific in terms of her shot stopping and coming out to the ball, but her distribution thus far has been somewhat lacking. That, however, is a wonderful ball from Zavitz, but it's good work from Briggs and Allen to link up on this left side and find Allen with all manner of space to play a ball through. Plays that one back for Watson. it's great work from Watson to swing that corner across. She beat Hicks, found the space, and put the cross in, but there was no red shirt gambling and looking to meet it. And Bonatti again showing the verve to simply glide past challenges, but her pass for Gay is cut out by Rose. Briggs coming into this game a little bit more in the last few minutes. And we're still looking for Alana Raimondo on the NDC to really get her foot on the ball and make an impact. Marcassini with a bit of pressure from both sides. Finds Watson, who will just swing that one across. The ball, however, is beaten out, hacked clear, as Rose will look to remount an attack. Moves away from Zavitz. Oh, a lovely little step inside from Maloof, who wins that free kick under the attentions of Bubnik. NDC perhaps had looked to get this game restarted, but the referee had decided she didn't want to get things going. FC London actually have a substitution lined up. As in the 28th minute, Chelsea Zavitz is making way for Mackenzie Bilota. Perhaps an indication of a small knock for Zavitz. And one of the reasons perhaps we hadn't been saying her name too much, unfortunately. One can only hope she's okay. That is a tactical substitution on behalf of FC London to try and get a little bit more control of the game in the midfield. Maloof now, at the behest of the vocal FC London support, did indeed send that one over the net. As mentioned, the FC London support is travelling in numbers this evening. A really good turnout for this semi-final, actually, here in Brampton. Bilotti's first involvement in the game is receiving the ball in a highly pressured area, but she's able to keep the ball moving. Bubnik, however, not able to keep that one going down the touchline. Just to get a feeling again, I think FC London also shaping up in the 4-3-3 similarly. Maybe not pushing their fullbacks quite as high. But having a midfield of Bonatti, Michienzi and Bilota behind the front three of Hicks, Milligan and Gay. As Morgan Blair, one of the two centre-backs for London, fights to get that ball clear and does so very, very well. That one poked up by Michienzi for Hicks, who keeps it moving. Back for Scott. Bilota looking for options. Keeps it going for Thomas to find Blair. Blair has the option of Scott here, but doesn't want to take it. Wary perhaps of how many times NDC have read balls and intercepted passes. Bilota turning nicely in a sharp area, but her ball forward a little bit loose. And Carabin able to get things started very quickly for Rose, who looks for the forward run of Maloof. Maloof made up several yards on Blair there. Couldn't get the ball cleanly away. And Bubnik making up the ground to put on a challenge to prevent the cross from coming in. Dogged defending from the FC London defence. And Maloof is down again, unfortunately. Oh, perhaps just an adjustment of the socks for the NDC Ontario forward. Watson taking this corner from the right-hand side. Left-footed, looking to swing that one in. It finds its way over. Carabin able to actually almost unchallenged get her head on the ball. Didn't even have to jump. It dropped right onto her forehead. But perhaps she was surprised at the flight of the ball being unimpeded on its way to her. And actually sending that one wide somewhat weakly. I'm sure that she would, in an ideal world, want that one back and send that one on net. The warning signs for FC London from these set pieces. They're giving up a lot of corners, and NDC are slowly working out ways to make challenges, or mount a threat on goal. Bonatti sharply back for Belotti. Keeps that one moving for Thomas. We'll swing that around for Scott. But that looks like it's a trigger for Greco to press from the midfield. And her and Allen make sure that ball doesn't get anywhere. Concede only a throw in, but deep within MC London territory. Mikienzi looking to craft some space at a tight area. Instead, taking the territory. FC London slowly work their way up the field. Scott looking for options. The referee deems her to be claiming her yards, creeping perhaps. Thomas now. Gives Belotti a tricky ball that who stumbles on it but does terrifically to make sure that it's great presence of mind from Belotti in the middle of the park, even after getting the ball caught in her feet, making sure that nothing comes of it for NDC. Greco sending a diagonal ball right the way through for Raimondo to get onto, but Raimondo muscled out. Watson now looking for some options. She has Tanya overlapping, but the ball not having quite enough zip on it to get over to the other side for the switch. A collective groan from the crowd around me as Bonatti did not want the run of Hicks up the right-hand side, instead turning back around, choosing to retain the ball. And then that ball fired forward from Bubnik, but cut out by Rose. Gay, however, fighting for it on that far side. NDC doing really, really nicely to move that ball, get it into space for Briggs, who gets that one through for Allen. Falls again for Briggs. Falling to perhaps her less favoured left foot. The strike not quite as clean as she would have liked, but the speed of the ball movement there from NDC was really something that just sliced their way through a massed pack of FC London players. In the end, needing a little bit of luck to get the clear shot away, but a foreboding passage of play for FC London in this instance. Steinauer again looking for her fullback Scott, and again sending that one slightly over the head. Rose doesn't see anything she likes forward, moves that one back for Carabin. That ball forward was probably sent more in hope than in intention. Blair for the combative Bubnik. Belotti keeps this one moving for Blair. That long ball forward is taken down nicely for Bonatti. But her pass for Belotti was a little wayward. As Blair now able to find Scott. And again, you can see anytime that ball gets out to the London right back, Greco is there very, very quickly to snap into the challenge and deny any space, deny any advancement down the touchline. Mikienzi now in a tricky spot of space, was looking for the run of Gay. Maloof sending this one down the channel for Allen to chase. Allen to square up against Thomas. not quite able to battle through. Thomas standing strong and getting that one clear, giving up only a throw-in. An advantageous position for NDC Ontario, admittedly, but oh, Allen turning very, very neatly to get away and keep that one moving. Scott with a brusque challenge, but one that was judged to be fair. Shoulder-to-shoulder contact, breaking up the forward momentum. And that one coming off the feet of Ali Hicks, much to her protestations. Deemed an NDC Ontario throw. Oh, a great toss from Rose from aloof to try to turn on. Very strong work from Morgan Blair. Make sure nothing comes of that. Looking for her clearance down the line. Ooh, charged down by Kayla Briggs. But still good work from Blair to not allow Rosa Maloof, who remember has 9 goals on the season, not allow Maloof to turn. And strong work to get herself into a position to clear. And Briggs, however, again showing the relentless press that NDC have kind of made one of the hallmarks of their game thus far this season. Their first in League One Women's Premier, of course. Briggs plays that one out of space for Greco. Is able to find Tagne. Oh, that's a loose ball. Now Milligan looks to spring herself clear as she gallops down the field, looking for white shirts in support, but maybe took a little bit long. Oh, very, very fortuitous with the bounce. And again, back to her again. Milligan still going. That one moved on. Gay was looking to find the overlapping fullback, but a loose touch. Now Briggs maybe charging forward before looking for her passing options, but it's a lovely ball over, and that's a nice touch from Allen to get around Steinauer, but Thomas again in attendance, aware to the danger, alive to the threat, is able to clear up after her keeper had been actually beat by the flight of the ball. And now we're in something of a back and forth. That's a beautifully weighted ball for Milligan to chase and get to the touchline. Let's see, can she get something in? The ball is sent into the danger area, but only as far as Caravan, who hacks it clear for Bonatti. Bonatti with the attempt. An ambitious one, but certainly not a bad effort from Julia Bonatti. As we see a massive injection of energy into this game over the last few minutes from both sides. Oh, that's got a great read from Bubnik to make sure that ball doesn't get any further. And now Bonatti has her head up. Wonderful work. Just dancing through challenges until Tanya was there right at the death to deny Bonatti the opportunity. NDC now not able, because of Robin Scott, forcing that ball back to the feet of Tennille Gay, who was able to swivel and take the shot that sent it wide of Faith Fenwick's left-hand post.
Yeah. Rob, get the drums going.
Bubnik now maybe feeling the game a little bit more, reading this, understanding the moves a bit. And has done well to cut out movements to down that left, that far flank a couple of times in the last few minutes. FC London finding themselves in this game a little bit. NDC Ontario certainly had the bulk of the possession, the lion's share of the game in the early goings. Greco looking to turn and get down that flank really, really well, holding off the attentions of Ali Hicks. She keeps that ball in. But determination from Ali Hicks made sure that nothing was to come of that. With just a few minutes left to go in this first half, we are locked at 0-0. The general pattern of the game thus far, to my eyes, certainly has been FC London, as we had just seen, struggling a little bit to mount regular attacks and mount regular possession. That's a great, strong turn from Watson away from Hicks. She looks to float that one over for Maloof, but just eluding the forward. And then Bubnik does well to make sure that nothing more comes for NDC Ontario, but that's really, really good work. The turn from Watson was so strong. Could have easily have taken the free kick, but turned and drove into the space, floated the ball over for Maloof. And as mentioned, the general pattern of the play thus far appears to me to have been NDC Ontario having the bulk of the possession, the bulk of the attacking options, but the final ball not quite connecting. Or certainly, if it does or comes close, the defending of FC London has been so determined that there's never really been any clear opportunities at goal. The closest, I think, was probably when the ball fell to Briggs on her weaker left foot, as Allen looks to pick her way through a forest of FC London legs. Gets caught. And so now FC London, this has been the majority of their attacks have been this sort of fast break opportunity when they are able to move, but Benati actually has nowhere to go with this. No white shirts in support are ahead of her. And so we'll see if London can maintain a spell of possession. Scott has pushed herself all the way up on the far side as the fullback here, whereas her opposite number, Taylor Bubnik, has stayed back as part of a three-person defense. Blair with the long one over for Benati, looking to flick that one for Milligan to chase. It's still live though, and Tanya and Fenwick getting a little mixed up. The crowd around me certainly demanding a back pass on that one, as the Fenwick did touch it with her hands. I know Garrett Peters, actually the coach on the FC London bench, is actually received a yellow card, likely for his protestations at the way that recent passage of play was officiated. Peters likely with the same opinion as the crowd that is massed around me, that should have been called as a pass back and given as an indirect free kick in the penalty area, but the referee didn't see it as such, and so we continue on. Ultimately, there is only one whistle in the middle of the park.
It's a free kick.
Oh, it's a lovely touch from Benati, but the ball not terrific as she slipped just as she struck it. Oh, Gay, and then just not able to capitalize on a loose touch from Carabin, who chooses to play it safe, move it back. We are into the dying embers of this half as Hicks cuts out a pole ball from Fenwick. Looks to play in Mikienzi, but Tanya is again there. She's done terrifically well this half in terms of sweeping up and covering for her centre-back partners should anything get through them. Allen ghosting through the middle of the park, and Tanya now was quickly shifted from being a defensive saviour to attacking part.
Crazy. I know, that's the most crazy record I've seen, especially in a semi-final game. Yeah, like it's like one thing was like playoffs
NDC with another corner from that throw. you'll see actually Marcazzini and Carabin again trotting up from the back, looking to make themselves and their presence felt in the box as this ball gets swung in by Watson with the left foot. We are into added extra time at the end of the first half, so... Oh, and that one is just Carabin had just beaten Steinauer to it, but didn't get clean contact on it. Oh, and Belotti's touch just eludes her and ends with Allen. And then Carabin's through ball. This time red, far in advance by Belotti. Gay looks for the overlapping run of Bonatti, but the ball a little bit too square. And the referee, considering that Ariana Rose had taken some liberties with where the throw-in should have been taken, calling her back to the original spot.
She might need a refresher course, that's what I'm saying.
Tanya with a pretty weak ball back for Carabin, but nothing coming of it. Oh, and that actually brings our first half to a close. We are in a 0-0 stalemate so far in this second semi-final of the League One Women's Premier Playoffs. NDC Ontario and FC London scrapping it out to 0-0 thus far. A tense game, finally delicately poised, with plenty to come. So please, we'll have a quick short break at halftime, but please don't go anywhere, as there is 45 minutes left to play in this.
That's a shot. That's a shot. At least the last 7-8 minutes. 10 minutes. The last 10 minutes. Once maybe subs.
How much have you got?
At this level for this game, like from here to here to the goal, like the best is like 50 feet. The goalie goes like this and makes it obvious, and then she lets it play. be aggressive.
Your audio's on.
Good evening, everybody. Welcome back to the second half as FC London get us kicked off as in this second semi-final of the League One Women's Premier Division playoffs. We are currently locked at 0-0. A tight, tense first half with play going both ways. You'd have to say NDC Ontario playing all in red, now actually moving from left to right on your screen, maybe having the better of the opportunities, but not really able to craft anything clear cut thanks to the dogged and determined defense of this FC London backline. FC London in the white shirt with the red shorts as Blair looks to get us moving and get a ball over the top, and actually now kicking from right to left in this second half. Had some opportunities to gallop at the defense of NDC Ontario, doing well, taking advantage of what could be considered broken field situations, but to advance the ball really well, but never really able to piece together that final ball and pierce the massed ranks and the back line of NDC Ontario. So as the sun has set, we actually have ourselves a beautiful, cool summer evening here at Save Mac Centre in Brampton, Ontario. We've got 45 minutes left to decide who will be the second finalist of this League One 2022 League One Women's Premier Division playoff. The first finalist was decided earlier this evening in the game between Alliance United coming out on top there. Alliance's result earlier this season, just by the by, out of interest, a 3-1 victory over NDC Ontario, their only loss of the season. Oh, that's a lovely read by Gay to pick the pocket of Zoe Marcassini and drive now towards the goal. She's got a lot of ground to cover, so there's opportunity for Marcassini to make it up. And a slightly disappointing ball in, but it is deflected, and FC London actually get what is, to my memory, the first corner of the game for them. The other result that Alliance United had against one of the teams in this game was a 2-2 draw with FC London. So whichever team gets through, there is unfinished business there. Now, as mentioned previously in the year, well, actually just 2 weeks ago, these two teams played. That's nicely taken by Thomas, and a good effort on goal from Avery Thomas, the centre-back. Up from the defense. It was a great take to actually bring that ball under control, and a nice swivel to get a shot away, lacking the venom to really sting the palms of Faith Fenwick too much in the NDC net, but a good opportunity nonetheless, and a heartening moment for FC London, both for the squad, the coaches, and indeed the fans around us. Robin Scott fighting with Kayla Briggs to make sure that ball doesn't get any further. And Thomas's clearance almost eluding Greco, making its way to Milligan, but not quite. Marcassini looks for Raimondo. It's a nice take in the middle of the field. Coming together is considered neither here nor there by the referee, and we play on. Blair now moves that ball out for Scott, but it's a touch awry. And Greco, who again has been pressing that particular pass out all evening. You keep an eye on that. The ball out to Robin Scott that triggers the number 18 to press like a maniac and deny any kind of any opportunity or space to move that ball. Marcassini with a nice little ball through for Allen to take. Brings that down very coolly. Lays in Watson, drives towards that byline and plays the ball across. But actually not being able to get it past the first post this time around. As mentioned, the previous meeting between these two was a 2-0 victory for NDC Ontario. Both goals coming actually pretty early in the second half. So London will be looking to make sure they don't get caught out in the same way they did 2 weeks ago. Ooh, a nice turn around the corner for Gay, but no one there to receive it, so except Rose. Tanya looks for her options. Nowhere forward, moves that one back, wise to keep hold of the possession. Carabin and Marcazzini changing the angle of attack a little bit. Marcazzini gives something down the channel for Allen to chase, but Scott is there to deal with it. Between her and Thomas, they're able to deal with that and get it clear. As NDC Ontario look to get themselves set up for this long throw routine. We've actually seen this already in the game. Rose's throw dropping dangerously in the penalty area. Remember, of course, there are no offsides from a throw. That one a little bit flatter for the oncoming Maloof. Now Allen able to whip a ball in. Raimondo had tracked that ball very, very nicely. But so, of course, had Bubnik, who was able to hack it clear and concede early a corner. Bubnik perhaps arguing, actually it's a throw-in. My mistake. Rose now will try the long throw again. Loop flights that one across, nearly drops right onto the head of Maloof, but she was caught under it.
Step!
Carabin's attempted ball, looking to break 3 lines of players, maybe a little ambitious. That's a terrific through ball for Milligan to chase. Marcazzini desperately chasing back. Able to get a challenge in the eyes of the referee, considered fairly. But the ball through from Milligan to chase was a thing of wonder as Rose just pokes it through the legs of Bubnik, knocks it down the line for Raimondo to chase. Now Blair is simply unimpressed with the physical attentions of Alana Raimondo. And Bilotti gets that one clear. The pattern of play there for FC London is actually how they conceded the 2 goals against NDC Ontario recently, that with a fast break through the defense. But in this instance, Zoe Marcazzini able to make up the ground and put in a challenge that again was deemed fair by the referee. That's a great ball for Watson to chase, really neatly angled, but Bubnik was well positioned to deal with it. Watson will look to swing this one in. We are in the just reaching into the 54th minute. Loops that one across. Steinauer tracks it very, very nicely, gets it clear, and then actually picks up her own rebound. Dogged goalkeeping from Steinauer.
Go FC!
Greco will flip that one over. Maloof takes that one down very, very nicely, fashions herself a bit of space, got away from Blair for just a second. But the shot, a touch awry, getting sliced high, wide, and not particularly handsome. As Jaden Steinauer actually has to run into the depths of the shadow to retrieve the ball from Rosa Maloof's errant shot. Now again, in that first half, we did see that FC London were having issues building out of their own defensive third, and they had some problems kind of beating the pretty relentless press of NDC, as we've actually just saw there, with the front 3 of Maloof Allen and Raimondo Orbriggs happy and more than willing to kind of chase and harry whenever they get the opportunity. Watson able to wander her way in, cut inside, come back onto her supposedly weaker right foot, and let something go.
Let's go, FC!
For FC London to allow that to happen, they must be pretty displeased with themselves, but also now all of a sudden aware that there is indeed another threat on that flank. In the left-footed fullback that they thought they'd be able to show down the line is able to cut inside just as well. Raimondo cuts out Steinauer's kick, but only as far as Bubnik. Hicks keeps that one moving. Blair Bubnik, she has the line. Hicks now looks to play that one inside, but it's good work from Rose. It's actually good defensive work from Tennille Gay to make sure that the NDC weren't able to take that space on that far touch side. Oh, it's a wonderful switch of play though for Ariana Rose. Now she has to decide, does she want to take the defender on? Or moves that out for Tanya.
Push up! Push up!
Watson now. With no options, this is actually a solid defensive structure for FC London, not providing any gaps or any spaces. Able to keep NDC Ontario out for the time being. Although, of course, the issue that we do have with that is that when they do get the ball, or rather when they hack the ball clear, there's no white shirt to receive it. And so we get back into a familiar pattern as Carabin looks to loop that one over for Maloof, but that one will roll all the way through for Steinauer. I'm sure she'll be delighted to see that one will end up at her feet.
Pressure!
Greco looks to bring that one in. It's actually retrieved by Briggs, who keeps it moving nicely for Raimondo, who maybe you could have accused of taking a touch too long or taking an extra touch, and in the end she was charged down by an FC London defender, and the shot that she released was maybe a little weak, not quite what she was hoping for. She perhaps thought she had a bit too much time with that. Steinauer maybe taking some risks, allowing Maloof to run onto her. Oh, that's great work from Tennille Gay to get in and rob Watson. And that ball is still alive. That's incredibly determined defensive work. And the referee now, considering that Tennille Gay was unlawful in her attentions, or in her efforts to win that ball back, as we actually do see a substitution for NDC Ontario, Rosa Maloof. In the 58th minute, Maloof being replaced by Patricia Sokos. Maloof had gone down earlier in the first half, so whether this is a remnant or perhaps vestige of that, it's not known, but she does look like she's moving okay. Maybe this is just an attempt to shake things up a little bit for the National Development Centre team. And Sokos' first involvement is to hound the defence in the same way that Maloof had been doing. A quick note, by the by, of course there were no goals in the first half, and actually the only disciplinary action was for the FC London head coach, Garrett Peters, to receive a yellow card for his remonstrations with the referee over what he believed to be a missed call, relating actually to a pass back of all things. So Marcassini strides forward and delivers a beautiful ball for Allen to run onto, who cuts inside, not able to make clean contact, but the ball lands back at her feet. The second bite of the cherry is a little bit better, but Steinauer is able to keep it clear, dive down to her right-hand side. Ooh, that touch from Scott is not a good one. Into a dangerous area, but Mikienzi just about able to help out her colleague. That's wonderful reading of the game from Rose, as she's been doing all evening. Her and Rose and Greco actually is the base of that NDC midfield. Have been stalwart and not really allowing FC London to mount any sort of possession in that space. or have any kind of any sort of domination of the area. But they've also been great at kind of cutting out any attempted through balls. It's a neat ball for Carabin, but Bubnik read. But her attempted pass for Hicks didn't quite find the target. Ooh, a lovely turn from Sokos away from 2-3. And then the referee gives the free kick against Benati. Rose standing over this. With an hour gone in the game, 30 minutes or so left. We are still at 0-0. The tension ratchets up as the game continues. It's a great ball from Rose, but a crucial defensive intervention from Robin Scott. Marcazzini with a nice turn and gaining a corner for her team. Quickly taken by Rose. Watson will look to swing this one in from a slightly different angle of attack, away from Blair. Watson had options, but wasn't able to get it away from Benati. And Thomas just hacks that one clear, giving up only a throw-in. Although, as we've seen already so far in the game, Rose's throw-ins are almost as dangerous as her corners. And lovely lofted, flighted throw that evades everybody. Allowed to bounce in the penalty area, but not dangerously in the end. Watson pokes that one for Allen to chase. Allen and Watson combine nicely. Ooh, Watson looking to play in Allen, but not quite able to do it now. Milligan will fight clear. Briggs is scraps for that ball and is considered legally. Briggs with a very robust challenge on Benati. And you may have heard the cry of despair from the FC London fans gathered around me at that one.
Come on, Raph.
That long clearance from Steinauer allowed to bounce, but nodded clear by Marcazzini. Scott looked to beat it, but was beaten by the flight, or rather the knock-on from Briggs. Allen now plays in Sokos. Sokos may be overcomplicating things a little bit. So the ball finding itself to Thomas, who's dispossessed by Allen. Now Briggs looks for some options, finds the overlapping Tanya, whose ball kind of generally into the area of the penalty area or the goal. Didn't get anywhere further than Ali Hicks. And here in the 63rd minute, we have a substitution for Mari Michienzi being replaced by Alicia Dominguez.
Let's go, FC!
And again, that toss in from Rose this time met neatly by Bilotti.
Come on.
Briggs now really getting herself involved in the game, kind of scrapping and fighting for anything. Carabin will keep this one moving for Tanya. She looks up, she has Rose. Nice switch from Carabin for Watson to chase down. She's got Briggs and Allen ahead of her. Plays that one inside for Briggs. Oh, it's a very nice turn to get away from the pressure and attention, but the ball looking for the big switch wasn't good. Only really ended up with Hicks as Benati now surges forward. No real white shirts to play it to. Gets it into the feet of the supporting Tennille Gay. Tennille Gay perhaps slightly running out of ideas there as Allen now releases Rose. And Rose and Tsokos perhaps getting their wires crossed there in terms of the ball, the run being either made inside or outside. And the clearance from Steinauer right to Hicks.
OSC!
Good read from Carabin. Hicks fighting well to retain possession. Bubnik looking down that line. What can be considered a fortuitous leave from Hicks finds itself to the feet of Milligan. She plays in Dominguez, sails her maybe a little bit short with that pass, but Dominguez battles to get it clear. Well, but Rose is there to clear up, and then we see a little bit of physicality now in the middle of the field from both FC London and NDC. As Tsokos is dispossessed by Bubnik, but then again her pass clear is a touch loose until it ends up with Bilota just sweeping that ball clear, perhaps in an effort to reorganize. And we do have a player down for NDC Ontario. Looks like Ariana Rose is currently down.
Yeah.
Well, you're learning that now? I think there's a lot of colors that knew that.
As mentioned, there was a significant increase in the physicality at the middle of the field in the last 5 minutes or so, and Rose perhaps unfortunate to be on the receiving end of some of this, or certainly showing the effects therein. The second half settling into a familiar pattern, but FC London certainly taking the game a little bit more to NDC than they had, showing a bit more grit and determination.
Somehow got like kind of knocked off the ball like a little.
I don't know.
Like it wasn't.
No, that one
Question of what she had.
that one was then.
I'll use this unscheduled break and play to once again thank our sponsors. This evening's League One Ontario broadcast is made possible by the support of its partners: Gatorade, Rehydrate, Replenish, Refuel. A Derby Star is the official ball of the Canadian Premier League and the preferred match ball for League One Ontario. Macron, work hard, play harder. Vibrant Performance, Canada's most trusted automotive high-performance brand. Sports Engine, bringing your team together with Sports Engine AQ as Ariana Rose is up and able to leave the field under her own power. We'll see whether they call for a substitution here. I've seen no signals from the physio that should be the case. It might just be a little knock that she's going to attempt to run off. Continuing with our sponsors, the Canadian Premier League is where Canadian soccer takes flight. Ontario Soccer, of course, is encouraging us all to play, inspire, and unite. And then finally, Canada Soccer. So please do sign up for the new Canada Red fan membership program to get the inside track on national team tickets, exclusive merchandise, and other promotions. FC London get us underway here. Very sportingly, actually, returning the ball to NDC Ontario. Rose is ready to come back on, but the referee has not waved her on just yet. As Rose is now waved onto the field. And that ball forward is there for Allen to chase again, as she has been all season. That ball down the channel, she's always a willing runner. And always willing to fight and scrap and fight for seconds. A neat ball, a scoop down the line for Watson from Marcazzini. Doesn't get anywhere. Milligan able to find Gay, who does well under the challenge to keep hold of the ball and looks to release Gay. Milligan, my apologies, but the ball a little bit too straight this time. Bilota now tries to break 3 lines of defense with that pass through from Milligan, but not quite able to do so. Now Marcazzini is off on a run, and Allen looks for her overlapping run as she continues her foray from the back, but the ball only rolling through into the grateful clutches of Jaden Steinauer. That ball sent high into the Brampton evening as Milligan is able to fight with Carabini and bring that one down, but only goes as far as Kayla Briggs. Briggs had options, but is choosing instead to go herself. And now absolutely stonewalled by Robin Scott, but the ball finding its way, bouncing back to the feet of Kayla Briggs. And this time, she's denied any entry into a dangerous area by Avery Thomas. So we have another substitution, this time for FC London. Is the right winger, the dangerous right winger, Tennille Gay, who'd never really been able to find herself to get into the game this evening. She was never really given the opportunity or the space to run at or run into. But she finds herself replaced by Natalie Abate. Was that shot sent over somewhat tamely into the arms of Jaden Steinauer? But I guess it will count in the stat book for Kayla Briggs. Oh, Bubnik's pass is a little bit loose and Briggs just about knocks it onto Allen, who does brilliantly to find some space. Her attempted shot doesn't get charged down by Blair. The FC London defender actually turning her back, but just about getting away with it as Tanya gallops down that touchline, sweeps in a ball beautifully as Watson turns wonderfully to get it onto her left foot and slot that one home at the near post. A sickener for FC London, but one that you have to confess is the result of wonderful pieces of play from several members of the NDC Ontario team. Tanya sweeping up the ball on the right hand, on the near touchline to us, galloping clear and bringing a ball across, sending a dangerous ball slicing across the face of the FC London defense. It wasn't dealt with. It fell to Watson, who shaped a shoot on her right, sent the defender to the local corner store for a Toronto Sun, and was able to bring it back onto the more dangerous left foot and slot that one in at the near post. Benatti looking to strike back immediately from the kickoff.
Go FC!
Hoping perhaps to lock NDC Ontario into their own end, challenge Faith Fenwick's kicking. But we have a goal, we have a break in the stalemate, a 1-0 goal in the 72nd minute for NDC Ontario, as they take a lead in this game with, plenty of footballs left to be played. 20 minutes if you include any added extra time. So there is still time for FC London to get back into this game, but as mentioned, a real blow to the hopes of FC London to make it through and secure their 4th League One women's title. Blair with a lovely ball that was, maybe Tanya was a touch tentative to cutting out, but she's happy to see that one run away from Ali Hicks, out for a throw-in. And Rose showing actually that a long throw is useful not only in mounting an attack, but also in clearing your own zone. Possibly looking for the head of Sokos to knock this one on, but instead it goes out and comes back in. Bubnik gets that one to Hicks, and that's nicely worked on by Abate for Benatti to chase. Benatti's so comfortable with that, so elusive with the ball at her feet. The recently graduated chiropractor actually probably creating a demand for her services by twisting defenders inside out regularly. Allen able to turn even with losing the ball in her feet a little bit, and Greco does well to keep that one moving for Rose.
Yeah, you got that.
Carabin really nowhere to go. Only finds Blair, but that clearance is not a good one. And Rose immediately looks to spring a counterattack, and look at Allen surging from deep, trying to break through the two central defenders. Fighting, always fighting.
Get her a rule book for birthday.
Ooh, lovely stuff from Rose, and wonderful stuff from Silkos to keep that ball moving. Rose looks to cut inside, and she is able to do so. She keeps moving, keeps fighting, plays that one back for Allen, who makes no mistake from around the penalty area. A neat finish from Amanda Allen, but the work was done in the build-up. And it looks like actually the Amanda Allen fan club is in attendance this evening. But the build-up from Ariana Rose and Patricia Silkos on this right-hand side was really, really special. They kept the ball moving 2 nutmegs in a row, and then Rose just danced and picked her way through a forest of FC London legs.
Let's go, guys!
Before moving the ball to an unmarked Amanda Allen, who found herself all alone on the penalty area, the penalty spot, my apologies, and swept it home without making any kind of mistake. 2-0 to NDC Ontario. In the 76th minute now, and FC London have found themselves with a mountain to climb with only 15 minutes or so left in this game. Dominguez immediately looks to strike back as Milligan will chase and fight with Carabin, and Hicks had the ball fall to her. There were a lot of shirts and bodies in front of her though. She had to be careful in terms of the flight that she was going to select for the ball, and instead she perhaps scuffed it slightly, maybe overthought the shot. Perhaps it came to her a little bit too quickly. But it's one that I'm sure that 8 times out of 10, 9 times out of 10, she would have done much, much better with. Wonderful work from Allen. Now she's having fun out here, making sure that she retains that possession under tight attention. Marcazzini able to split those lines. But the ball forward is not a good one, and Scott is able to keep it moving for Thomas. Thomas now will stride forward, find Milligan. Scott will lay that one up for Abate to chase. Abate has Marcazzini in an unfortunate spot. Between Abate and Milligan, they're able to win a throw-in. The throw from Milligan isn't terrific, but Abate does terrifically to bring that one in. Now, 3 red shirts around her. And Watson almost certainly being a little bit handsy, one could say, with her approach to Abate in that confrontation. The referee calling it as a free kick, and this is a dangerous spot, an opportunity to launch an attack. Surely they will be looking for the head of the number 19, the substitute, Natalie Abate, perhaps Ali Hicks, and obviously looking to elude Carabin, the number 23 for NDC Ontario. That's where the height is in this penalty area. Of course, don't rule out Avery Thomas, the number 12, alone and unmarked at the back of this pack of players. If Benati can drift that over there, actually the ball finds its way over there anyway. Oh, and that ball, the attempt from Scott, thrashed clear. And the clearance from Blair nicking off Amanda Allen and affording FC London a throw-in in a dangerous spot. Avery Thomas, your centre-back, is actually up in an attacking area, and Abate finding the ball with her feet in a dangerous spot, but perhaps panicking a touch, or maybe rushing the pass a little and not being able to find a white shirt. Ooh, and we nearly had a collision there. Dominguez able to bring that one down for Bilota. Scott not able to get through the 3 red shirts that had gathered around her. And Kayla Briggs comes away with the ball. Just about eluding both Thomas and Bilota. But now Abate, neat turn away from pressure, looks for her options. Bubnik is the overlap. And that ball perhaps a touch short, but well read by Rose. As she again pokes it through the legs of Bubnik, chases it down the line. Dominguez is in attendance. That's great work from Alicia Dominguez. And Bonatti was perhaps looking for the overlapping run of Milligan, but the ball was maybe a little bit too curved. And this is the one time you maybe wanted a straighter ball. As Greco splits her own players there in between Allen and Briggs. And we're into a real kind of a back and forth game now with 10 minutes or so left. Neither team looked particularly interested in settling this one down. FC London obviously 2 goals down, but so there is something of an imperative on their behalf to challenge. Now we see a raft of substitutions here. So give me a second as I try and keep up. For NDC Ontario, we have Alana Raimondo replaced by Nia Rose. FC London, we have Cheyenne Bauer coming onto the field.
You got it.
Entering the match, number 15, Cheyenne Bauer.
Cheyenne Bauer actually taking the place of Robin Scott.
NDC Ontario substitution.
And actually Talia Lewis, the number 9 there, coming back into Robin Scott's space. So we've seen Bilotta come on as a substitute and then replaced, actually. Oh no, my mistake. Bilotta is still out there. It was indeed Ali Hicks that had been replaced by, certainly in terms of her position, by Cheyenne Bauer on this near side touchline. Neatly taken down by Sokos. She does really, really well to hold off the attentions, and her layoff is maybe a little bit delicate. Bauer looking for that quick ball forward. Abate able to bring it in, turn. Oh, a nice ball through for Milligan, but she had just strayed offside. She had just gone slightly ahead of the pass. Something that maybe she didn't need to do. Perhaps she was overly cognizant of the way that Marcassini had caught her in the first half, or rather earlier in this half, with a through ball. Naturally, Abate looked to have taken a knock in the playing of that ball, but she's going to battle through and limp on for now. A neat take from Briggs. She just dances away from the attention and finds the space to bring that ball in. Oh, that was an unfortunate, unlucky bounce, but that could have gone very, very badly. But FC London able to hack that one clear. It's good work from Dominguez. Now Bonatti will get up, get her head up, look for her options. She's only got a few white shirts ahead of her. She keeps that one moving for Talia Lewis, the new addition to to our theatre of football in front of us here. That's a nice pick out from Bonatti as well to find Lewis again. Lewis has nowhere to go, keeps it moving for Dominguez. Does well, keep that one alive. Bonatti looks to drive towards that touchline. That's great work, but the ball in under the attentions of Watson isn't the best. Was looking for the feet of Abate, but didn't really make it all the way. Bilotta linking very well with Bonatti, and again that ball looking for Abate, but not quite finding its way through. This is much better from FC London. That one through for Abate. Oh, that is I've used the word before, but that is a brusque challenge from Zoe Marcassini, but one that was deemed lawful in the eyes of the referee. Bubnik with a hopeful pass across the middle. Well, it's good work from Dominguez to halt the quick advance of Nia Rose, but Rose continues nonetheless. Finds the overlapping Kayla Briggs, who's got options. She can take this across the face of goal, which she attempts to do. Just eluding the feet of the diving Patricia Sokos. You imagine that actually if that's again a neat looking ball for Milligan to chase, something that she's been doing all evening and still shows no sign of slowing down. Bubnik will get us restarted. Bellotta almost able to turn. Bubnik finds Bonatti in the middle of the field. Looking for movement ahead of her. Nicely done to cut that one back from Milligan, who looked to play that through ball for Abate, but rolled instead all the way through. Abate actually maybe looked a little unaware of where that ball was. Certainly was looking in a different direction for a pass. Watson plays that one up the line for Allen. She loves to get herself squared up against her defender, but the pass inside, not a good one, cut out by Morgan. Ooh, a neat turn inside there, but not a great ball. Again, this seems to be the pattern of the evening where FC London do well, get themselves into dangerous spots, but can't quite get that final piece of the puzzle together. We do have a player down. The referee has called the halt proceedings briefly. Here we're just into the 87th minute. Amanda Allen, the scorer of the second, is down now and will require the attention of the physio.
Hey, why are we adding this on? I see you looking at the watch.
During this brief break in play, I'll again remind you why we're here, or what we're watching. League One Ontario is the province's pro-am standards-based soccer league and is sanctioned by FIFA through the Domestic Authority of Canada Soccer and Ontario Soccer, founded in 2014, or 2016 I suppose, for the women's division. The League One enters its 8th season of play in 2022 with 20 teams in its women's Premier Division and 22 teams in the men's. The League One serves as the stepping stone between high-performance youth soccer and fully professional levels of the game. Its primary focus is the showcase and development of Canada's future stars, and to that end, more than 150 players, male and female, have graduated from League One to professional levels of the game in Canada and across the globe. For more information, please do visit league1ontario.com, and you can also find League One Ontario on all of the social media, Twitter, Instagram, Facebook, TikTok, and obviously YouTube, where you are joining us. So it looks like Amanda Allen, who was the player that was down, has been replaced. In this instance,
NDC Ontario substitution in the 88th
replaced by Michaela Cour-Pascal. Now Morgan Blair keeps us moving for Bubnik. That's nice. That's a neat ball in, but perhaps an overly ambitious attempt to flick that ball on. Cheyenne Bauer did her best to make the most of it and battle her way through, but that's a good work. That's a good read from Catterbin to surge forward out of her defensive line and cut out that loose ball. Bonatti driving again at Watson, who will always fight again. Watson is a real fiery competitor and character down that in that left back position for NDC Ontario on the far side. As we enter into the final minute of regular time, we stand at 2-0. It looks like, barring any major mishaps, as Cour-Pascal actually is, as the fresh legs, the newly introduced player, drives at that ball. Barring any major, I suppose, turning or overturning of events this evening. NDC Ontario will be the team to make it their way through to the final to take on Alliance FC. As mentioned, Alliance is the only team that actually was able to score a victory over NDC. Now, we had a real coming together, but I actually agree with the referee in deciding that was kind of 6 of one, half a dozen of another. Bubnik opting to come back inside instead of moving that one out for Cheyenne Bauer, who had plenty of space on this near touchline. Alicia Dominguez having to come in and assert her dominance. And that buzz you hear is for the 90th minute ending, but we still have 3 minutes remaining of added extra time as Kwa Pascal sneaks that ball through the legs of the on-rushing attacker, looks for Rose. But Thomas is there to keep that one moving for Steinauer. Steinauer will look to sweep this one out, but Ariana Rose now is still there in the middle of defense. As mentioned, Rose and Greco have been real solid rocks in the heart of that midfield. As Marcassini is able to slip away from Bonatti, but I mean, certainly with the ball, but Bonatti makes sure she doesn't get too much further. It's a game that's been played in a real competitive spirit, but not like not an unpleasant one, except perhaps that play, which I mean the referee is happy to see continue on. There's been no disciplinary action for any of the players, either in the first or second half. Thomas will loop that one over for Abate to chase, which he's able to do. Looks to play that one in first time. Falls for Julia Bonatti, who's squared to shoot, shaped up, but the last second dive from Watson was able, and Abate fights well. Watson was looking for the foul, didn't get anything. The referee continuing her policy of letting them play this evening. But once again, it's that final ball has kind of been letting FC London down. You have to say, if Abate challenged for this, she was offside when that ball was played. So Marcassini just thunders that one clear for Bubnik to pick up. As FC London once again look to build this play. Morgan Blair squares there for Avery Thomas, changes the angle a little bit. Expect this one to come along. You've got Milligan chasing onto this. Oh, and that is an unfortunate touch. She perhaps was caught in two minds of whether to bring it in or take the first time touch, and in the end, it was sort of neither. Actually, the referee brings this to a close, and we have a result: 2-0 win for NDC Ontario over the traveling FC London. Goals from Ella Watson, Renee Watson, my apologies, Renee Watson and Amanda Allen saw to the final result being finalized, and indeed that is where we'll be heading next. NDC Ontario traveling to the final of the League One Women's Premier playoffs to face Alliance FC in what is sure to be a terrific game. It's going to be at the Soccer Centre in a couple of weeks, so please do come along, join us again for the live stream of that. I'm sure it's going to be a fascinating watch. But for now, thank you for joining us. For myself, my broadcast partners, and the crowd here, thank you for joining us. A good evening and good night.